Okay, so this is my final evaluation I'll be doing for the year, my second year at Stratford-upon-Avon College. So let's get into it. So I've literally about to finish my FMP. My deadline for pre-production is tomorrow at 4 p.m. and at the time of recording this, and today I've handed in my short film ready for the screening. That's tomorrow, which I'm really excited about. So for the question I'm going to be answering, I'm taking from the last project we did for the other short film. It's kind of the same. Just I'm going to go into more detail and possibly come up with any other questions or any comments I want to make. So the first question being, what did you intend to do, and what process did you adopt into achieving this? So I'm different from my last project. I stuck with the same idea the whole time, and I think that's what's made it so strong and definitely my best work I've done yet. So what I went for was a children's film, but non-animated, which when you think about it, there's only a few you could which springs to mind, like The Grinch or The Muppets. But it was really hard to actually do any research for, so I had to do a lot of it myself. And I think the process I mainly adopted for doing this was I went and looked at other films, like children's films, and I went on to use those. So my main three influences were Monsters Inc., Cat in the Hat, and The Babysitter, which is on Netflix. And basically I've taken different parts of those films and put them into one with my own adaptations, of course, because then it would just be completely plagiarism, and it would be an awful film. And of course, a lot of films follow the same narrative. There's only 7 different stories. That's what I kind of went for, and that's the process I did. I went and took other films and I adopted it into one, put it into one script and one narrative. And I think it went actually really well. So what was the final product? Was the final product as you expected, and did it meet your initial objective? So I definitely think my final product was what I expected, and if not more. I definitely think I met my objective. I mean, I'm really amazed at what I managed to do. I definitely think the research was hard to do, only because there's only a certain amount of research you can do with this, because there's no other ones really to look at except The Grinch and The Muppets, which aren't really monster films. I mean, maybe The Grinch slightly, but not majorly. So it's really hard to actually get any influence from that to go look at other films which I could possibly adapt into it. So it was really hard to do that, but I think the final product was just what I expected. It started the way I wanted it to and it ended the way I wanted to, and of course there's a few changes along the way like there is for anything, but I really am proud of what I managed to do with this, and I think other people are too, and I think it met my initial objective of making a children's film that teaches a story with adult jokes, which looks nice, colourful and happy, and has possibly a sad but also happy ending. I don't want to spoil it, of course, if any of you go to watch it. So what did I learn on the journey? So I've also learned, especially from the first shoot, and I applied that into the second one, was how good... Well, okay, that's makes me like I've got a big ego, but basically I just realised I can actually direct, and you can see references like that in Meg's production diary and Tom's, and I just managed to do really well. I was picking out stuff I was never able to do before. There was definitely one lesson I had with James, which the rule of thirds and composition. That really has changed the way I look on film, because I'd never done anything like that before, and now when I do it, I'm literally constantly focusing on that, which is just amazing. That's one thing I've definitely learned. That's one lesson I'll never forget. I've also learned the importance of checking equipment before you take it out, because especially on the first shoot and the second shoot, I had a different, first of all, it was the camera, and the second shoot being the LED panel wasn't working. So that definitely did help me coming into the shoot. But I think I was still able to, get it done. And I think that's another thing I was really proud of, is how I managed to do that. And I just learned a lot, really. I just realised who I can work with, and who, if I had another year, or just if I see them again in the industry, who I would want to use and hire, because they just did really well. So what went well? I've pretty much mentioned it the whole time. Definitely the recording. The shoot. I mean, it all went well. I mean, the research is probably the end of it, which went really hard, because there was little to research. A lot of it was my own trial and error, and as much you could say that was test shots, I did do some test shots here and there, but they weren't test shots willing to show. They were just like, I'd be walking about. I'd just be walking, back from work or something, and I test it in my head, and I know that's not an actual thing you do, but I was imagining it on screen on a camera, and I know you can do more in imagination than what you can actually do, but I was trying to base it down. And I mean, when I went out and recorded, I definitely had a storyboard in my head, which isn't really what you're supposed to do, which kind of leads me on to my next thing, what could be improved, and that's definitely my storyboarding and photographic storyboards. So unfortunately, I haven't actually got one, and that's so much I'm a little bit upset with, but also slightly not, because I managed to create what I think is a really good film. But then maybe if I had the storyboard, it would have been an even better film. Even though I think some of the shots are composed really well, there was a bit, not all. There's a lot of the shots being repeated. Where I think if I had used a storyboard, I might have been able to get a different amount, because when I see it on the storyboard, I'm like, oh, that's the same shot. I can take that out, swap it with this, just make it look a bit nicer. And I think another thing that could be improved, which I've done a few times, but they were more non-diegetic sounds, but we're putting J cuts in. I feel like J cuts really, there's a bit of the conversation where, they're tossing and turning between each other. And I definitely think if I put a J cut in there, it would have seemed much smoother, which I didn't do, but that's something I can improve on. And the next question, funnily enough, from the short film, was what targets will you set yourself for your FMP? But what I'm going to change it to is what target do I set myself for next year, or the next thing I make, which hopefully will be a much higher thing, and that's higher quality. But it's just the next target I would set myself is definitely pick the right crew, because that's helped me so much this year, having the right crew. So it hasn't helped with other projects, but I have the right people around me. If there's someone around you who doesn't work, I'm going to have to got rid of it. And that's what I did this year. Even though I think they were quite understanding, it just definitely helped my film not having them around. And another thing, target I'll do is make sure you get all your pre-production done. I mean, I definitely got it all done. It was just the photographic storyboards. But I personally feel like I don't need them, but I definitely know I do. You need them in the industry. So hopefully that's a bit I'll get into my head and actually get it done. So here's just an added bit I'm add-on to the evaluation, which you could probably click off now, but it's just a bit I'm going to put on. Is that I think the last 2 years I've definitely grown, and I mean you're supposed to, but I definitely think I have gone from a person who knew film and bits of it to a person now who knows, I would say, a fair amount of it, and I could definitely do some work now, possibly in the industry. I won't be working in a major place, but I could definitely do some work, so I have a good understanding of it, and I only have myself and the people around me to thank, really, and the lecturers and all that, so, and it's a big thank you to them. And I really think what you've got to do is just make sure you're constantly in college, because although you feel like you're getting more work done at home, you're definitely round the lectures, you learn so much. And I mean, the one lesson I had of James, where with composition absolutely changed how I saw film completely. The composition and everything like that, I was like, wow, that's insane. And it led me go on. I went on and did that in my film. I made each shot and planned them beforehand as if I was analysing. So if someone went to analyse my film, they could analyse it, because I'd made it so they could actually analyse it. There was so much symbolism in there, and shot types. It was something I'd never done before, and it's only because I had one lesson. And I mean, there's also the lighting and stuff like that, and colour grading. If I hadn't spoke to Lee about how to make my character seem more menacing, but then also slightly with a good bright side on them, I would have put the blue in. And I would never have thought of using the blue, and he showed me an influence which I could use from Doctor Who with the boy under the sheets. I went and used that, and that, I think, has completely changed my film, because it made it look more warm when it gets happy, and then colder when it's clearly meant to be a scary part of the film. And then Shamila, because she just basically kept me going. I mean, if I hadn't had Shamila as my, I don't know, just there as a lecturer, I definitely just don't think I would have pushed myself to keep going. I mean, I got to give big thanks to all of them, so that's about it, really. That's my evaluation, and that's pretty much me signing off for this year, and hopefully I'm going to get a distinction. So thank you for listening. Let's end it on bang on 9 minutes.